Yeah, we do have a very special guest with us, Mr. Rashad Milligan. He is a reporter and writer for Rolling Owl and Peachtree Hoops. Rashad, how you doing, my man?
Man, I can't call it. How you boys doing, man? We got two of my youngins in the building, man. Garrett all the way back from Georgia State. Baby Boateng all the way from Marietta.
Marietta in the building. Man. Shout out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are very welcome to have you here, Rashad. And, you know, like me and Jerome, you know, we cover the Hawks pretty quite often. And so, Rashad, we just want to get your take on, you know, the Hawks so far. We know it's only 2 games in, but there's a long season to go. But so far, what have you thought of this team so far as how they play offensively and defensively? Because it's quite obvious that they have a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yes, obviously. It's kind of what I expected this season so far. I mean, when you go into the off season, you don't make any major changes. Like, it's like, what did you expect? Like that's kind of just like my thoughts watching the team and stuff through the first couple games. With what happened over the off season with Milwaukee getting Dame, with Boston getting Drew and Porzingis, it was like, okay, the top of the top even got better. You were already on a tier below them, and now they just put themselves on another tier while you guys stayed the same. So that's the whole thing where I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So I will say, I think they should have. I'm sorry, I was speaking in circles. The thing I was trying to get to was I think they should have pulled the trigger for Siakam. I think that rumor deal, didn't it have Jalen involved in it? And it was like, and AJ was in it, but Kobe Buffkin was the one thing that was holding it up. I don't know if Jalen was in that. I knew AJ was in it, which I was kind of like, that's crazy.
Right.
It was AJ and DeAndre, and I think Kobe was the holding up piece. I don't think Jalen was in it. If Jalen wasn't in it, I think you should have pulled the trigger. The only thing, you know, as every other Hawks person that has watched the Hawks this season, the only thing that is encouraging so far through 2 games is the fact that Jalen Johnson is doing pretty much what we thought he would. And that shouts out to you, Garrett. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, Garrett, you know, he might have said this, but, you know, you got to hear it from an outside source. Garrett said this when Jalen was drafted. And I've always shied away from it because Ben Simmons. When Ben Simmons first came in the league, summer league, before he got hurt, I was like, man, he looks just like LeBron. And then Ben Simmons has had the career he's had, which is good, all-star, things of that nature, but he's nowhere near LeBron. I was like, I'm never doing that with a person about LeBron again. And there's a lot of people who, you know, Kawhi is another guy, and Paul George, where a lot of people will be like, oh, he reminds me of Kawhi Leonard. He reminds me of Paul. And they never turn out to be anything like those guys. So it's like, I didn't want to fall into that trap when Garrett said he reminds me of LeBron, because I've done it before with Ben Simmons. But he doesn't remind me. I can't lie to y'all. And you know, you got to put the key. I'm right with everybody else watching the Hawks for the past 2 seasons.
Yes,
Quinn has unleashed them and everything like that this season, but he's got to continue to do so by starting the man, sit Sadiq down. You know, I know a lot of fans want to sit Dre down because, you know, they get frustrated. Dre's kind of the easy person to point at and blame because he's quiet.
Yeah, he is.
But, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I definitely think you have to start Jalen at some point. Let him get it going, man. And put the keys fully in his hands. If you're going to put the keys in his hands, put the keys in his hands. Obviously, the trading DeJounte, shots always going to come back to them. Offense is always going to come back to them. I think we all saw this last season where both of them had long, extended droughts where they just weren't shooting it well from the field at a consistent level, at their usual kind of level that they're kind of known for. But they made it through last season, you know, just kind of being mid 500 the entire time. So, you know, that's going to happen where they're going to have droughts, but they're going to get right eventually. I'm not too worried about that offensively. Defensively, I feel like the team is much more active and has more pride on defense. I do think communication at times can be better defensively. Onyeka, that's another thing that we're always looking at. is him in foul trouble. You know, talent's always been there for Onyeka. That foul trouble has kind of been his Achilles heel. And it's something that we at least saw in the Charlotte game. I'm not too sure about last night against the Knicks, but that's something that I want to see him really improve on. But, yeah, that's my overall thought of the Hawks. Is pretty much what everybody else is saying. Team looks the exact same as we've seen from the past couple of years because they haven't changed anything in a major way. But Jalen Johnson is a positive. The fact that he's looking like he could be that next guy in the league and on the team.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned Jalen Johnson because I'm telling you, Garrett has been banging the drum on Jalen Johnson this entire offseason. And I will say it is good seeing that come to fruition. And I know you touched on it a little bit, but, you know, a lot of what the Hawks came into this year thinking is that they didn't need to make major changes because Quinn Snyder is going to be able to coach the team up and raise their level without having to make too many structural changes to the roster. So what do you really think, you know, Quinn Snyder can do to bring the best out of this team? I know you already mentioned Jalen Johnson starting. Is it as simple as just inserting him in the lineup, or is there some other things he could really do to make this offense not so clunky, especially in the first quarter of games?
Yes, that's a great point. I think, you know, coaching matters for sure, but at the end of the day, the chef's gotta have something to cook up with, man. And you know what I'm saying? If the talent has a ceiling, the talent has a ceiling. And I just think the Hawks have a ceiling with this roster. Like you can't tell me you looking at Dame and Giannis in the same starting lineup, 2 top 10 guys. You can't tell me that you're looking at some of these other rosters. Of course, I don't think New York and Charlotte are that much far superior when you look at the teams on paper than the Hawks are, which I guess would be the point here. But you know, in the big picture of things, it doesn't matter what Quinn is going to do. If Quinn has the best running offense in basketball history and, you know, the most active defense in basketball history, like it doesn't matter. Like these guys, I think they're just not there as currently constructed. But as far as what he can do, tangible goals, yes. Inserting Jalen into the lineup, like you said, to get out to a faster start in the first quarter offensively. And, just continuing to give the ball energy because, you know, I think a lot of times it's the same thing that we've been seeing for the past couple of years, but specifically last year, DeJounte's first year here. And it's the whole when in doubt, play hero ball it out. You know what I'm saying? The kind of you get the dribbling and you get DeJounte doing the between the legs and Trey's doing the, you know, they dribble the air out the ball. And that has never solved anything under Nate. It hasn't solved anything under Quinn. And so, if anything, I don't know how Quinn can, you know what I'm saying? Because if the players take the matters into their own hands and they are the 2 all-star players, what are you going to do? Bench them for Patty Mills? You know, so it just is what it is. Like the players have to do what the players, you know, have to do to win, you know, at the end of the day. And, you know, tangible things that Quinn could do is just, you know, continue to have faith in Jalen and ride the hot hand, place him in the starting lineup, give him that boost of confidence as a young guy. You know, it's the little things that matter when you're that young in the league that kind of give you that mental edge and push above other guys.
Yeah, man. Rashad dropping some truth bombs here on the GB3 Show on ATLTalks Radio. And just want to change gears a little bit here because you've done some really good work with Peachtree Hoops and writing some really good pieces about a lot of players and particularly about their personal lives and really getting in touch with what they do outside of the basketball court. So I just would like to ask, what are some of your favorite stories from covering the Hawks? And who are some of the favorite players you've had the chance to interview, either, you know, outside of the Hawks team or inside the Hawks organization as well? Just some of your favorite experiences as a journalist and as an interviewer.
Yeah, I have a lot. This is, as I posted the other day on Instagram, this is season 9 for me. So it's crazy how, like, fast time flies. And, like, it also reminded me of like how crazy LeBron is for 21 seasons, because I'm not even playing and I'm like tired.
He's still here.
But, he's still here. 21 years. 21 years is crazy. But 9 years in, I feel like you said, I have a lot of favorite ones. I think some of the favorites that pop off for me with players like directly, Amari Spellman, his exit interview a couple years ago after his rookie year, was just kind of talking to them, like, and asking a bunch of follow-ups, and the story was kind of just like, because he does poetry and stuff, so he's very in tune with his emotions and things of that nature. So the story was like Amari Spellman and the Pursuit of Happiness, and I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed the ones where I have to kind of go out the way and take that extra step. So the two that stand out for me are the Kevin Huerter and Ian Anderson story. Kevin Huerter and Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson's a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. He's been hurt the past couple seasons, so a lot of people might not be familiar with him that much if you don't follow the Braves that closely.
He was a big prospect a few years ago.
Yeah, he was.
A huge prospect. He was the number 3 pick, I believe, and I want to say 2016. That might not be the year. It's been a while since I did that story, but yeah, he was the number 3 pick for the Atlanta Braves. And then Kevin, of course, went to the Hawks out of college. So it was like those two guys went to the same high school. They won a state championship together in baseball. And then they eventually got drafted to different organizations in different sports, but in the same city. So, talking to both of those guys and their high school coach and seeing how excited the community was once that story came out, it was pretty cool. And I think I was in the Huerter's family's good graces ever since that story came out. So I was very proud about that one. And then the Trey one, I think anything with Trey that I got beneath the surface was always cool, just because of Trey's status, A. And then B, the fact that, he doesn't talk that much. Trey doesn't really say too much beyond cliches. So to get something out of him, something of worth, I was always kind of proud of prying things out of him. So the latest one was when he was 14 years old, early on in his kind of recruitment journey to even become nationally ranked, he went down to a camp in Atlanta. So I talked to Trey's dad, the reporter that covered the camp, and I think I even talked to one of the coaches that was over there too. Yeah, I think I might even talk to one of the coaches that was at that camp. So I talked to all of them. You kind of got the full story on that. Rayford, shout out to Rayford. He was telling me how he bought the tickets to go to Atlanta, to go to this camp on his credit card. And, to get some of the background information of the sacrifices that these parents make to put these children and now young adults into the successful positions that they are today. Those are the things that you'd always don't hear about. You've heard about Trey growing up as an OKC season ticket holder with his father, and his father being a former professional basketball player. So a lot of people might hear that, especially Trey being mixed, having, a white mom, being from Oklahoma and stuff. A lot of people might kind of assume that Trey just had it made and they never had to, make a sacrifice to do something. They had the money always. But hearing that from Pops gives you the real story of them getting it out the mud. So it's stuff like that I like getting. Those are some of my favorite stories. And favorite people to talk to outside of that, obviously Kobe, rest in peace, Vaughn, and Wade. I had to sit down with Wade. So those are some of my favorite moments outside of the team.
Yes, sir. And one last question before we let you go, Rashad. So circling back on your take on Pascal Siakam. So I think the Hawks are in a place where they need to make a move to help them get to where they want to be, of course, winning that first championship. But in terms of Pascal Siakam, do you think by making a trade for him, it will make the team a championship contending team? Or do you think they just need to make that move to get better, regardless if they're a championship contending team or not?
I think obviously you're trading away your future for something that's a risk because you don't have that long-term commitment from Pascal. That's why the fan base was split on it this offseason. but you have to take a chance at some point. You have to swing for the fences at some point. You can't just play it safe, because if you continue to play it safe, you'll see what you see right now, which is a continual playing caliber team that's there from the 8th to 10th seed every single season. They might get to a 6th seed at some point, you know what I'm saying? Because they do have a lot of, they have a lot of solid guys, like AJ solid, Bogey solid, Dre solid, Sadiq solid, Jalen solid, Onyeka solid. They have a lot of solid role players and things of that nature. So, like, there might be a time where, just staying together so long and being so solid gets them a 6th seed, but there's still a ceiling on this team. We've seen this story before. I mean, this is the franchise that made the playoffs 10 years in a row with one conference finals appearance to show for it. So it's like, I mean, we've seen this story before. It has a cap on it. This group has already made the conference finals a couple of years ago. And it's like, was that the ceiling? I mean, we see, like I said, once again, we've seen it before with Joe, Bibby, Josh Smith, Al Horford. We've seen this already. Jeff Teague. So it's like, are you cool with that again? Mm-hmm. Or do you want, do you want to take that chance? We've seen Toronto. Ironically, Toronto is the team that I think of first, but we've seen Toronto take that chance with Kawhi, where they did the 1-year rental thing, no promise, no long-term promise from Kawhi, and it paid off. Pascal is not that caliber player where he's going to give you a championship immediately in 1 year. So that's what a lot of the fans are concerned about. But he does take you a step up from where you are right now, but just playing level. So it's like if you want to make those baby steps of becoming a better team and finding your way out of purgatory and kind of just the middle of the pack Eastern Conference, then you have to make a move like trading away a lot of your future pieces that you believe in for a Pascal Siakam for something right now and taking a chance. If it blows up, it blows up. It wasn't like you were going to win the championship anyway.
Right. Yes, sir. I got one more thing before we do get out of here, man. Rashad Milligan, he is a women's college basketball expert, and I just want to get your thoughts on who you think is going to win the championship this year, man. USC, I think my girl Dawn Staley's got it. Who do you think is going to go real quick?
Man, I'm gonna go. I guess you got to go LSU.
Wow, LSU again.
But UConn, yeah, it's gonna be LSU and UConn are the top two teams. They're the super teams. It's kind of like what you saw in the WNBA this year, where the two super teams were Vegas and New York the entire time, and they ended up being the finals, and Vegas ended up winning. I think it's the same thing in college. LSU and UConn are the two super teams this year. And I think LSU is going to super team it out.
No Caitlin Clark love, man. No Caitlin Clark love at all? No Iowa?
I mean, you got Caitlin Clark over there by herself in Iowa. She's amazing and stuff like that. But when you have Paige Bakers and AZ Fudd and Caroline Duchamp, like UConn has like 3-4 All-American type players over there. And then same thing at LSU. You got about the entire starting lineup they're all American caliber players. So, I mean, 5 and 4 versus 1. Who you got?
Yeah, that's true, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on for the show with us and answering my last question, man.
No, it was fun. I appreciate y'all boys, man. And thanks for bringing me on. I'll come on anytime y'all need me.
Absolutely. And Rashad, before we let you go, can you please tell everybody where they can follow you on social media?
Yes, you can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Kim Kardashian. You can follow me on Instagram at Kanye West. And yeah, man, that's where you can find a lot of my articles and stuff. I appreciate y'all.
All right, yes, sir. We'll catch you next time. You be safe.
All right, peace.